people are very much worried about the future of China-U.S. relationship. Where will it go? Will it be in a crisis mode? We certainly have seen, we have heard words uttered by President-elect Trump about one China policy, etc. We have seen some of the things he has said he will do once he is in the White House. So people began to worry about China-U.S. relations. The first point I want to make is that the fundamentals of China-U.S. relationship are basically sound. The fundamentals, meaning we are the first and the second largest economies in the world. Our economies are interwoven so much that if we start a trade war with each other, we will hurt each other. You may hurt yourself more than the other party. We have shared interest in maintaining peace and security, not only in Asia, but in other parts of the world too. We have shared responsibility in tackling global challenges such as climate change, energy safety, etc., etc. That being said, we need to look ahead and to see what options we have, what measures we need to take in order to continue this relationship on an even keel. It is extremely important because we are the two most important countries in the world, to be honest. This is the most important bilateral relationship in the world today, or one of the most important if we have to be diplomatic. I have a few personal suggestions. One is for China to continue to engage the United States when the new administration comes into office and the process of policy review begins in earnest for the purpose of enhancing cooperation bilaterally to minimize the risks and even the dangers we will have if we do not cooperate, if we let our differences fester. We need to seize a window of opportunity that always presents itself when the new administration, any new administration comes into office, because they will review the policies, including Americans' China policy. They will review. Review is a good thing. You review, if you're wise, you have better policy decisions. So I can see a window of opportunity popping up now, as it did during the first year of Obama administration in 2009. China and the United States negotiated a joint statement, 7 or 8 pages long, outlining what the two countries should do to maintain a good relationship in the first 4 years of our Obama administration. But of course, that plan ran into obstacles once Obama returned to Washington. He was criticized by conservative forces, both in Congress and elsewhere. But we did succeed in mapping out the way forward. I think we do have an opportunity now for two sides to talk through tough issues like trade, South China Sea, even Taiwan, and other those very tough issues concerning the core interest of both countries. Take trade, for example. I talked about trade surplus China enjoys, or trade deficit U.S. suffers in our bilateral trade. There are lots of reasons to this trade deficit on the part of the United States. We do not take all the money in our own pockets. Part of it were the value added from China's imports of components from our neighbors and our trading partners. Part of the surplus China enjoys actually were put into the pockets of American companies investing in China. And there are other ways to reduce the surplus if we look at from a positive perspective. For instance, U.S. can lift the ban on two things. One is export their shale gas and shale oil to China, to establish an extensive energy relationship with China. China needs lots of shale gas, natural gas, of course, partly to eliminate the foggy weather we suffer in Beijing. But that would be a good thing. U.S. become a supplier, one of the suppliers of our energy sources. Secondly, they can lift bans on some of the not so sensitive dual usage items, dual usage commodities to China. They export these goods to China. Actually, the technologies involved are only a few years ahead. China will catch up very quickly, but there is a huge market in China. If the United States does not seize it now, it will be seized by other countries. So I'm just have a brief look at the trade patterns between two countries. These two things we have, if the United States can agree to do these two things, you can reduce trade surplus on part of China dramatically. Not to talk about other things. Secondly, at the same time, it is very important for the United States, a new administration under Mr. Trump, to understand there are some issues that fall in a domain of China's core interest that it cannot touch seriously. Taiwan is one thing, one China policy, one China principle. That has been a policy commitment, a policy carried out by 8 U.S. administrations since President Nixon visited China in 1972, early February 1972, successively. And Trump administration need to carry that policy forward for the sake of China-U.S. relations, because this is the very basic political foundation upon which our bilateral relationship has rested. If you take that away, the whole thing will go away, will collapse. So this is non-negotiable. You can a lot of things to negotiate with as leverage, but this is one of the issues that cannot be negotiated, non-negotiable. At the same time, China needs to talk to the U.S. as early as possible about opportunities of cooperation, not only bilaterally, as I mentioned, in terms of trade, in terms of maintaining peace and security in South China Sea, in Western Pacific, in terms of creating peace in the Middle East, in terms of fighting terrorism across the globe, and also in the realm of global governance, for instance, climate change. We heard President-elect Trump talking about withdrawing U.S. commitment to Paris Agreement on climate change. You have seen the picture of two presidents, President Xi and Obama, handing the certificate, official certificate of letters, national commitment to former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, to show that the two biggest emitters of carbon dioxide, we are together in this collective effort to fight climate change. If US withdraws, China will be standing alone on the stage like I am doing now, standing alone on the stage. But China will, of course, keep holding this flag, but we need the United States to join us. We need other countries to be with China and the United States in meeting the challenge that is the common challenge of all mankind. These issues, of course, include trade and investment, global regimes on trade and investment, concerning WTO, concerning energy security, counterterrorism, etc., etc. These are the things I mentioned in China-U.S. relationship, how to manage this important relationship. A lot of things to do, but in some, we need to work together. A new president may be unpredictable, but the world is not a place that will allow us to make huge mistakes by simply being unpredictable. We need to foresee the future and map a way out for all of us, because we are in this together. We're not alone.